So welcome everyone to AI just rewrote the rules of business. Why are Johan and I doing this workshop together? Well, we connected up not so long ago and had a couple of discussions around AI in business, and I showed him a couple of demonstrations of things that can be done with large language models, and he was like, okay, I want to show this to as many people as possible. So this is why we are doing the webinar or workshop today. So before I start talking about who I am and all of that, I'm assuming that most of you do know Johan, but I'll ask him to introduce himself and just talk a little bit about also what was it that sparked him to really want to put this workshop together with me.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. So, those of you that don't know me, my name is Johan Götze. I have a German surname, but I'm a South African born and bred, and very proud of that fact. What I do is I do digital innovation, for mid-sized businesses, and I work with all kinds of technology and IT at my customers. And I just came to the point. I think the reason why a lot of you join is because there are so many things happening in the world of AI and technology currently that it's hard. If you have a day job, it's hard to keep up. So my day job is to understand these technologies and to help my customers make good decisions around technology. And I struggle to keep up. Okay, so if I struggle, I'm sure, again, if you have a day job, I'm sure it's not so easy to stay up to date with what's happening. So the reason, I'm excited about this is I needed to make a call at some stage and say, okay, either I'm going to go full into this AI world and figure out how we can use it and how it can help my customers, or I need to just go and live in the sticks somewhere and put up a shack and just get out of this technology forever. So, and I'm not ready to go into the sticks and go and live in the mountains or somewhere. So I decided that I'm going to find someone that would help me through this journey, that I can work with through this journey. And then, quite by accident, a few months ago, I met Michelle, and what she had to show me really blew my mind, and it opened up, I think, a lot of opportunities on how to use AI in my work, and also for my customers and for the people that I know, how they can practically use AI themselves, and not just for prompting. It's not this is not Googling on steroids. I think most people use it for that, but that's not what AI or the capabilities that AI have. So, and then I met Michelle, and she's one of the most knowledgeable people that I've met ever, in terms of this AI world. And in fact, she made it her job to figure out how to make this practical for people. And Michelle developed a couple of courses, and I thought, well, let me get a few people with me. Let's put a team together and let's work through some of these courses of Michelle over the next 6 months. And this is just a way to get an introduction to everyone to see, what Michelle is about, and who wants to join me on this journey. It's an all-in journey, and I have lots of expectations for it, and that's what I'm about to say. So thank you for joining us, Michelle. I'm handing back to you. I'm looking forward to what we're going to do today.
Thank you. No pressure at all after an introduction like that. As Johan said, I am very much focused on helping people learn and understand. And I say AI so that people kind of know what I'm talking about, but where I focus on is the large language models, which are ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini. Those are the platforms that I help people to understand so they can apply that in their everyday role and in their business. And I will show you what I mean by that very shortly. A little bit of background about myself. I spent quite a few years in business to business sales in the food industry, in the packaging industry, and I was going to say rose up through the ranks, but as I had more people reporting to me, my role became more of the mentor coach slash manager style. And that led me into, well, let's understand how to be a better coach so I can work with my team. And then when I decided that corporate was no longer for me, I was very much focused on business coaching, helping people to systemize, to manage their time, to be more productive. So last year, I really started to delve into what is ChatGPT, how does it work? Full disclosure, I moved from Brisbane City to the beach and decided that for the first couple of months I was going to enjoy being at the beach. So I kind of just gave myself time to learn and absorb and look at what can a large language model do. And this was also around, as I said, from my background in coaching, when I started to look at this, this is like, the best productivity tool that I'd seen in a long time. So it was kind of, I guess, it fitted with where I was for me to then start to focus on AI and training. And of course, there is a coaching element involved with any of this because there is change management. So, what are we going to talk about today? So, AI just rewrote the rules of business. So, what I want to do today is talk a little bit and then show you a couple of things and then get you to actually do some work as well. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is how the world is changing and how AI actually really already knows what you do. I'm going to show you what I call an AI role plan. And I use this to help break down what are all the different things that people do in their roles. Because when you want to apply AI, it's not like, oh, let's just learn something and then figure out, oh, how's that going to fit in? Like, if you have a roadmap of these are all the things that we're going to apply the AI to, then your journey is going to be a lot smoother and a lot simpler. Then we're going to look at AI as your strategic partner, and I've got a prompt to help you create your own plan to look at the ideas of think big, start small, and learn quickly. And then hopefully we'll have some time for a little bit of share and reflect. And then if anybody wants to take this a little bit further and have a chat with me, I'll have some contact details at the end. Now, before I go any further, what I also wanted to do, I've left this in the platform, but I actually created all of these slides using a platform called Gamma. So if you do a lot of slides or presentations or brochures or documents in your role, that could be a platform. If you haven't already had a look at it, it would be worthwhile investigating because once you have your words, this literally took me around about 10 minutes to actually create the presentation. So let's look at the idea of, okay, the world is changing and the way that we work, the way that we design and structure our businesses is going to change as we move forward. So let's look at, okay, how much can we automate? And the question that I always get people to ask themselves is it's not necessarily like, let's automate everything. Just because you can automate, should you or could you? Is that going to give you the return that you're looking for? Let's replace some of that repetitive, busy work and then also um, like help the people who adapt early to see those early wins and to get the benefits. And I'm not sure, we didn't do a little straw poll before I started about where people are on their journey. So I'm sure some of you have spent some time working with large language models, and some of you are probably quite proficient. Some of you may be at the beginning of your journey. But think about this, like, what if you could actually do what you do now without degrading the quality in half, or even think about the fact that if you could take what you do in 5 days and do it in 4 days, and then give yourself time to either do more, like increase your output, but also think about the idea of actually being able to work on a business or be strategic or give yourself time to stop and think or to learn something new. These are all the benefits that you can see when you work through and apply. And I'm just going to use the term AI instead of saying large language model like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. Um, but where I start with people is, let's look at your role. Like, and we're not looking in terms of let's worry about AI replacing you. Let's focus on how can it amplify your effectiveness? How can it enhance your potential? And when we create a role plan for you, what I'm going to do, it actually breaks down all of the different things that you could or should do in your role. And for some people, when I show them a role plan, it's like, okay, I never thought about doing that. Or, oh, yeah, I kind of thought I should be doing that, but I don't really know how. So these are all the things that, they weren't maybe possible before you apply AI, but they are possible now. And then as we go through the training, then everything that we learn, we apply to a specific deliverable so that you are actually working on your role and you are enhancing what you're doing right now. It's not like, let's go over here and learn something, and then let's come back over here and figure out how to apply it. And also, it's, as I said, it's not necessarily about just applying AI to everything. Again, let's be strategic. Let's think about what are the things in your role where we could apply AI, where you're going to get the highest return on investment and that are the easiest to implement. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration for you to show you what I mean about this, what a role plan is, because I'm talking about this and you guys don't have any idea what I'm actually talking about. So I'm actually going to run a GPT, and this is designed to show you what are the kind of benefits that you can see if you apply AI to your role. So we'll get started. And the first thing we need to do is decide what role do we want to have a look at. Now, does anybody want to nominate something that they want me to look at, or will I just simply choose something? Silence is assent, so it looks like I'm choosing something. Let's go with, let me think. Let's go with something that I know, sales manager at a medium size manufacturer. It's hard to type when you know that people are watching. Not that ChatGPT worries about if you spell things wrong. So we're just going to say we're a sales manager at a medium-sized manufacturing business. So let's have a look at what are the things that a sales manager would do in their role. So I've got this created to look at matrix thinking, and this is creating an 8 by 8 matrix for me. Now, what we have at the top are the 8 core competencies that you would most likely see in a sales manager's role. And we've broken each of those down into 8 role deliverables. So you end up with a matrix of 64 different things that in a sales manager's role you could be doing. And there's no magic in the number 8. This is actually based on the Harada matrix thinking, which is a Japanese concept around if you have one very large goal that you want to achieve, you break it down into 8 smaller goals, and each of those 8 goals you break down into 8 again. And the idea is that if all of the smaller goals that you've identified all come true, then you will achieve the main goal, which in this case is to do your role really well. So now we have this matrix. And when I'm working with people, this is our starting point, so that each time we learn a new strategy or we learn a new way to approach things or how to analyze things, like create SOPs or problem solve or think about how you could solve an issue around any of these, then we apply those back to the deliverable. So I hope that all makes sense to everyone. There's no comments coming back, so that's good. Now, what we've also done here, which we won't be creating today, but I just wanted to show you that we can do this as well. So this is around, like, let's look at the type of KPIs that a role like this would have. So increased sales revenue, improve win rate, shorten sales cycle, increased customer retention, improve forecast accuracy, boost lead conversion, elevate sales team, and expand market share. So again, when you're not starting from that blank page of like what if I had to write down, the things that are going to improve the way I do my role, sometimes having a blank page is difficult to start with. But if you have something in front of you, even if it's not 100% accurate, it's a lot easier to edit than it is to come up with all of these ideas at once. Now, when we work through the training in the yellow belt, we actually show you how to create SOPs and how to actually work out how to deliver one of these role deliverables. Again, is there anything here that anybody would particularly like to see demonstrated, or are you going to leave it in my hands again? You guys, all right, now what would be interesting to have a look at? Why don't we start in the top left-hand corner, annual sales strategy. And I spelled that wrong, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so then we would walk through. So the AI is coming up with a 10-step process for you, and also generating the prompts that you would need to actually do this deliverable. So what you would do with this is you would take this prompt, start a new chat, run the first prompt, then in the same chat, you would grab the second prompt, run the prompt, and you can see the second prompt is asking for context. And then in the third prompt, you're looking at executive summary. And then each of these prompts will take you through and build out the whole plan for your strategy. So that's good. You now have a way to actually do these deliverables. But let's have a look and see, okay, how much time, now this is going to be an AI estimate, how much time would this take you without AI, and how much time would it take you with AI? So breaking down the steps and having a look at this. So this is how we actually start to measure things as well, because whenever you do something, you can always do an estimate of without AI, with AI, time saved, and then you can put a dollar value on it as well. So if this is a deliverable that you ran every week, and you could save even like 2 or 3 or 4 hours a week, you can start to see how that's going to add up for you over a year. I've got a couple of people in the chat. All right, so Johan's answered that question in the chat. Yeah, this is a GPT where all the instructions are in the background, because this is a deliverable that I run quite often. So instead of copying and pasting prompts in all the time, all of the information has been put in, and when I when I answer questions, it runs on to the next part of the instructions. So
yes, Michelle, sorry, can I just interrupt there? So what Michelle is showing you here is that behind it is a framework that she's built. Okay, so you can obviously use her framework if she allows you to, or if you pay for it. I'm not sure what the model is around that. But I think what she's trying to show you is that you can build your own frameworks. So you can use ChatGTP to solve whatever business problem you want to solve, or within your own framework of your business. So you don't have to use her stuff or anyone else's stuff. But this is not normal chats like the chat GTP that you would just ask a question or a prompt to. These are specifically built around business rules and a framework that Michelle has built.
Yeah. And you can build your own GPTs. What we will do shortly is I am going to give you a prompt which will actually help you create this matrix for yourself. So it won't be the whole GPT, but you'll be able to create your own role plan and have a look at that as well. So as I said, we've been through, okay, if we did the one deliverable, we can save time. So now what we're going to do is say to ChatGPT, okay, if I applied AI to all of those things in that matrix, what would that look like for my role over a month? And I actually had to program it in to make sure it says 160 hours a month, because the first few times I ran this, it was coming up with like 300 hours and 400 hours. So I didn't think that sounded particularly good. So what this shows you here is, look, all of this knowledge work that applies to the role of sales manager, if we apply our knowledge and skills to all of those things, we could pretty much guarantee that we're going to save around about half or more of the time that that person spends on doing all of those things. Now, when you have a look at that, you start to have a look at what the impact can be on your payroll and your productivity. So what would we actually do with that then? So if you wanted to, you could make that role a fractional role. Um, Depends on whether you're in the role or not, I guess, whether you want to be made fractional. The second option is keep the payroll the same, but increase the output. So with the same number of team members, you could at least easily um, 20, 30, 40% more output. Or the third one, and this is what I was talking about before, is particularly if you're a business owner or you're at a high level in an organization, time is a really precious resource that often we don't have enough of to actually work on the business rather than, be on that hamster wheel of working in the business. So a lot of people like solve strategic problem solving or working on the business is the type of thing that they choose. And then we can say, okay, if we wanted to look at the KPI matrix, then AI could choose some of the problems from there that we want to work on. And then we would continue on with the same sort of process and come up with a series of prompts that we would run, and we would solve that problem. So, and I'm going to not get through everything because like I thought I would finish this in about 20 minutes, but I'm already running behind, so I have a plan B. Um, so my question to everyone is, I can give you a prompt now and you can create your own AI role plan while we do this, or I can give you the prompt, and then you can take this and run this after the meeting. So then I can continue on and we can look at something else. So you will get a link to this document. All you do is you fill in the details of your role, company size, and what industry or niche the company is in, and then it will create that matrix. Now, you can put as much information as you like up here. the more context that you give ChatGPT, the better the outcome. So I'm going to grab the link for that document, and I'm popping this in the chat right now. All right, someone said they prefer to do the prompt later. So I'm happy to go with that executive decision if everyone else says. It's it's quite simple. You literally just copy it all from here. Just make sure you copy the prompt. Take this, pop it over into a new chat. I'm not going to run it now. I'm just showing you what to do. Paste it in there. And just once you put the details in, just hit go. Um, Now it's chosen the example that's been put in there, but you put your details up the top, and then you will create your own role plan, and you can explore that and have a look at it at your own leisure. So, the other thing I wanted to talk about today too, and again, this is a hands-on exercise, and I think this is probably a little bit more interesting than the role plan because the role plan's there and you can have a look at it, but you're not really sure what to do with it yet. So if we look at AI as your strategic partner, now Johan mentioned earlier about it's not just Google on steroids. Think of it as having like a work buddy sitting right next to you who can help you with anything that you want. So you can run like any sort of analysis. I've put SWOT analysis there as an example. But if I said to ChatGPT, list out 100 different business models or analyses that we can do for strategy, it would list them all out and you could then choose which one you wanted to do. Or once you've got a long list like that, you can ask ChatGPT to say, which one would be better for my business and why? Or this is the project I'm working on. Which analysis would be the best and tell me why? So it's not always about just asking for tell me this or tell me that, but also challenging it to justify what it says to you as well because, surprisingly, it has been known to hallucinate and come up with things that are not true. And it can be surprisingly confident in its answers and convincing that it is correct when it actually isn't. So make sure that you think things through, but just don't accept on face value everything that it tells you. And particularly if you think something doesn't quite gel or doesn't quite ring true, make sure you challenge and say, justify your answer. Where did you get this answer from? What are the references that you've used to come up with this? Um, Sometimes when I get a little bit cross with it, I just say, I don't believe you, convince me. And, that sort of thing, because it can be, it's great, but sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating because it just goes off on these tangents and I don't know whether it's a reflection of different days and different moods that I'm in, but some days it seems to be really good at giving me exactly what I want and playing ball and following instructions. And other days it kind of sort of does stuff, but it doesn't always do exactly what you want. So that's something to also bear in mind that, and you'll see a lot of that in social media as well, where people say, oh, the stuff that you get out of the chat GPT, it's all just rubbish. Well, the flip side of that is rubbish in, rubbish out. So it depends on how you ask it for things and how you prompt and the context that you give it as well. And I mentioned this too as well, the idea of getting ChatGPT to give you multiple options, but then not just looking at it yourself and trying to decide, is that the best one for my business or which one should I choose? Then you use AI to help you choose and to tell you why it's ranking and why that one's the best for you. And then the other exercise that I have for you today is a hands-on action class. So we're going to actually go through a strategic thinking exercise so that we can develop a strategy around implementing the idea of think big, start small, and learn quickly. And this is based on a book written by Stephen Schwarzman called What It Takes. So, the beauty of these sort of classes is that instead of having to read a book, which can take 10 to 12 hours, if you have a workflow or an action class prompt, you can use that to extract the key points from the book and use AI to help you apply them to your business. So I have a second prompt for you. And what we're going to, I'll give you the link to this. Um, give it, I'll give you the link to this now, and then I'll show you what we're going to do, and then I'll give you a few minutes to actually play around with it and do it for yourself. So this second prompt here that I'm just putting in. So, okay. So this the first part of the action class is learn. So the learn prompt is going to give you, as it says here, 1,000-word summary of the main concepts, and we're focusing on these three learning objectives. And before you run the prompt, put in some detail here. Now, if you've been using your ChatGPT for quite some time and it knows you well, you don't need to put a lot of context in here. If you have a fairly new account and it doesn't know you particularly well, again, the more information that you put in this part, the better it is. So all we're going to do is I want you to open your ChatGPT, open your document, and then all we're going to do is copy this prompt in. So copied that. We start a new chat. Now I'm just working in the 4O model at the moment. You could do reasoning model for this one if you want. That will take slightly longer and will probably give you a little bit more of an in-depth answer. But for the purposes of today, I'm just going to leave it in the 4O model. So as you can see here, it says tailor this to me, my role, company description. Now, I am not going to fill that out. I'm going to show you that it knows enough about me that it can actually put enough context in and answer those questions for me. So now you can see that it's generating a little essay for you to read. Now, this is just going to give you an overview of the concepts in the book that we're talking about. In a moment, I'm going to stop talking and give you a few minutes to work through this as well. And mine is running quite slowly today. Must be it's actually late Friday afternoon for me, so that's the excuse anyway. So now it's gone through all of this. Now you can see down the bottom here, oh, they move them around all the time. Where is it? Okay. If you actually don't want to read what it's written for you, you can get it. You click on this little icon down the bottom and it will read it for you.
Number one, absolutely, Michelle. Here's your 1,000-word summary of What It Takes by Stephen Schwarzman, tailored to your role as AI transformation expert.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do is we've got, it's 38 minutes past the hour. Let's take 3 minutes. I know that's probably not quite long enough to absorb it properly, but I do want to get on to the next prompt as well and show you what to do. And then after the session, please go back and re-explore and have a look at this and read through what we've created. And also ask me any questions if you need to.
Anyone still reading?
I was just about to come back and say, let's keep moving. If you haven't finished, please go back afterwards and have a look. Now, where are we? Wrong prompt document. So, on this slide here, the second prompt we're going to put in, this is the apply prompt, and this will walk you through a step-by-step process where ChatGPT will ask you for context about your thinking, your thoughts, your projects, all of those sort of things. And then when you get to the end of the prompt, it will actually create a plan for you to implement the concepts that we've been talking about in the prompt. Now, when you're working through this, just talk to it as if it's an assistant. And, if you don't like what it says or it misses something out, just tell it. If it asks you a question and you're not sure of the response, particularly if it might say things like, oh, what legislation applies to this, or do you have this, or what, if it asks you something that you haven't even really thought about that much yet, it's okay to say, I don't know the answer to this. Can you suggest something that would be appropriate for someone in my position. And it will come up with some suggestions for you. Again, you get away from that blank page syndrome and you actually get to choose from some ideas. So now what we're going to do is in the prompt document, you have an apply prompt. It's quite a long prompt. So you're going to start here and then you're just going to copy the whole prompt right through to the end. And then we're going to go back to ChatGPT in the same chat. We want to put this, we're continuing on the chat. So copy it into the same chat. Now you can see it's given it instructions saying you're a business strategy expert. Your role is to guide me through implementing the principles from this book. Provide a short introduction. Once you have the necessary information, proceed to the next step. The final step should be a consolidation of everything else. So as you can see in the prompt, you've got step 1, identifying your big vision. So it will ask you questions about that. Step 2, designing the small start. So where do you start from? And step 3 is embracing a learning mindset. Step 4 is scaling up and revisiting the big vision. And then step 5 is consolidating everything into your strategy plan. So if I just click run on that now, as you can see, it's going to start at step 1. And then it will wait for me to answer these questions and then move on to step 2. So how about, and then just keep working your way through. What about if we take, I'm mindful that we want to have a little chat at the end. Is 5 minutes enough to start playing with this, Johan, or what do you think? We take 5 minutes and then people can finish this after the workshop? Okay, that's the plan. So it's 46 past the hour for me now. So at 9 minutes to the hour, we'll all come back, and then if you would like to share your thoughts and ideas, we will do that. And then I will tell you how you can get in touch with me if you want to. I'm here for any questions, but I'll just turn my microphone off so I don't keep interrupting people.
Michelle, this is something I think that I would like to spend a lot more time on, sitting and thinking about the answers that I give it so that I can get a better response from it. So, but I mean, I can already see the value that it would have just going through this entire process. So I'm doing it quickly now, and
Yeah.
I'm not getting great answers. It's interesting what it tells me, but I'm not getting amazing answers. But I think it's because, I'm
Yeah.
not actually taking the time thinking about what I want to answer on each step. I think it'll be very helpful if we do this,
Yes.
in half an hour's time rather than in 5 minutes time.
Well, this is my fault, and I'll apologize to everybody. I got too excited and tried to pack too much into 1 hour. So, I looking at this, I actually should have made it like either the action plan or the action class. So I'll know better next time. But yes, you do actually, if you spend more time on it, you will get much better results. So with that said, how about if we just say, let's continue on with having a quick discussion. And I just had a couple more things I wanted to share. Um, just to let you know some of the things that I've seen happen with people working with me. Um, Electrical contractor who the two owners of the business trained with me March time. And when their estimator decided to leave, instead of just going, okay, let's hire a new estimator, what they said is like, let's create a GPT and an automation to actually take over. It's roughly about 90% of what the estimator used to do. And you'll notice that here they've said they still have someone monitoring its output, but they've actually replaced that role. And that's the payroll saving, $150,000 a year in terms of using ChatGPT to automate a full role. Now, personally, like I don't like to think that we are going to replace people's roles, but these are the type of things that are going to happen. But new roles will be developed because when you look here, it says, okay, we still need someone to monitor its output. So imagine if that person who was monitoring then was monitoring the output of two or three or four or five different automations and GPTs. That's a very different role to the type of roles that are available now. And then the other testimonial I just wanted to share with you too is that when I worked with the sheeter at Paintbusters, she actually was a little bit skeptical about, okay, would this actually help? Because she didn't feel like their business was really the type of business that would benefit because she felt they weren't techy enough. But as you can see, when you've got a business that like there's a lot of admin and a lot of repetitive processes, she was actually really pleased at what we came out with at the end. So for you guys, where do you start? Well, just start is my advice. Think of one task that you're doing manually that drains your time, or one area that you wish you had more clarity in, or think about like what's just one outcome that you want to improve this quarter. So it's not like you have to do everything at once. Just start is my best advice. And you know, AI can support all of those type of things, but just, be open to the idea and think about what do you want to do first, because obviously you can't do everything at once. Now, we have 5 minutes left. Would anybody, or Johan, would you like to share anything else? Or anybody else who's on the workshop who would like to share some of their impressions and ideas or which part of the workshop you thought was the best. And I know I tried to cram too much into too little time, so I will take full responsibility for that.
I think let's open it up for questions. If anyone has a question, as Michelle said, there are no silly questions.
No, no. I'll just unmute yourself and talk away if anybody would like to ask any questions.
Right, Johan, I will start.
Yep.
And first of all, thanks for arranging this and coordinating this and putting a couple of people together on a similar platform. Why I started is I think I'm very much a beginner
Yeah.
at any sort of AI. So we're just exploring and you know, if you start off, there's a lot of fears. And not the fear that you're going to lose your job, but the fear, you know, how to work with this stuff and how to navigate through all of this and what platform do you use? Everybody's talking about ChatGPT, but there's so many other platforms as well. So where do you start and what is the best? And, you know, ultimately just navigating your way.
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you very much. And hopefully, as you said, hopefully there will be some future events and just sharing with us. I think just by sharing, we'll all be learning in some way or format. So thank you very much, Johan. Appreciate it.
And can I just make a comment about, you said there's so many different platforms to choose from. Like I tend to do most of my work in ChatGPT, but when it's those prompts that I've given you, they will work on any platform. And my suggestion to you is don't try and become an expert in every platform. Have a play with the different platforms. Choose one that works well and you feel comfortable with, and then go deep on that one. Learn that one and understand that one and get it to really work for you.
Okay. So can I just ask you on that?
Yep.
So if Microsoft is investing in Copilot
Yep.
and you heavily invested business in Microsoft, why not use Copilot?
You can. Yeah. Like,
Because that's what I'm using, but
yeah.
everybody else is talking about ChatGPT because I think it's maybe just, but then on the other side, I'm a Mac user, so I'm a
Yeah.
Mac in a Microsoft environment.
Yeah, look, all of like those prompts that I gave you, and the only thing you can't do in Copilot, I believe, at this moment is create something similar to the GPT that I showed you at the start. You can get similar outcomes by using long prompts, but the only thing is like you have to keep each time you run it, you have to copy and paste the prompt in.
Yeah, I think just from my
I'm
experience,
complete.
sorry, JP, just from my experience,
No,
I use all of them, everyone I can find. And what I found is, depending on what you're using it for, some platforms give you better answers than others. So, if some are better in coding, some are better in this sort of stuff that Michelle has shown. Some are better, understand people a little bit better than some others. Um, so you use Copilot or use whatever I think is comfortable, but always reference it with a few of the others to see if they don't give you better answers or worse answers. So it's you have to play with everything at this stage. There isn't a better platform.
Yeah. And one of the best ways to do that is to take the same prompt and then run it in two or three different platforms and compare the output.
yeah, the only reason why I'm using is Copilot is that I think from a team perspective and a collaboration perspective, if you're
Yeah.
using Teams and using Planner and all the other stuff, hopefully it will just integrate a little bit better and just make that collaboration more effectively, hopefully across platforms, SharePoint included.
Yeah. Excellent. Is there any other questions or comments that anyone wants to make? I've got 60 seconds. Oh no, it's just clicked over to the hour. I've run out of time. Before we all go and I stop the recording, I just wanted to say thank you very much. And I did mention if anybody does want to find out a bit more about what I do, um, I have a website here. No, I'm not going to copy that. That most of you will have got an email when you registered, so you have my email contact details. And also, if you want to book in directly into my calendar, I do have a QR code. If you want to grab that, you can book in. No obligations. And once you've done your AI role plan, if you want to have a chat about what you could do next with it, or if you have trouble getting something out that you like or you think is good, then please feel free to get in touch with me. And I'm going to stop sharing now so that we can see who we've still got left with us. Any last comments or thoughts or anything that anyone
No,
would
Michelle,
like
I
to
just
say?
want to thank you very much. Again, I've learned a lot now today again. Every time I engage with you, I learn a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'll follow up with everyone and see if we can put a team together that wants to work. Because I do think you get more value if you're in a small team, 5 to 10 people working
Yes.
through this together with you over the next 6 months, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll do from my side. But thank you very much. Very informative. Yeah, thanks for your time. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, and thank you all for coming along.
Thanks. Michelle, just a thank you from my side as well. Russell, I look after all sorts of things at BeLogic, and just wanted to say that we are focusing on the IT security related to AI and making sure that Copilot and the Microsoft ecosystems that we look after are safe and secure. So if you need any help with Copilot readiness assessments and any detailed support around Copilot in the Microsoft space, and let's collaborate there. But I think overarching, the constants are people, like the humans, and time. There's not a lot of time available, and the people are vastly different. And we've got all of these tools. So if we can create practical ways that the humans can reach out and crack the ice and get going safely, and then just keep it within some sensible guardrails, then we're going to be okay. So I like the approach where you start and get moving. Just one observation is that if we're doing something specific for role-based assessments, it might be useful to take the person's actual role and their CV and the generic industry around that and actually work it so that it can bring something specific for that person to life.
What I do sometimes, Russell, when I'm demonstrating for people is I actually copy the LinkedIn profile, and that gives some more background. But you can put as much or as little information in there. And not like when I demonstrate to a group like this, the reason I only put a little bit of information is to show you, like, even just with a little bit of context, you still get something that's reasonably close. And normally I choose sales manager because, like, that's a role I've had, so I know if it's telling me rubbish or not. But I have had a couple of people that I've worked with who've put the person's job description in, but then we've put description of the company as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks. It was good to
Thank
participate.
you. Lovely to meet you, and thank you for the offer.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, and I'm going to stop the recording and start my Friday night now.
Enjoy. Cheerio.
Thank you.